Guys, welcome back to West Coast Eagles, Play on West Coast Eagles channel. If you're following what's happening in the trade news, I sort of switched off, and only today did I awake to some very interesting news that we're giving pick 3 to Carlton in exchange for Matty Owies. So let's divulge in this a little bit. So if you've been keeping up with it, or if you haven't been keeping up with the trade news, smash the subscription button and like button if you're an Eagles fan. I'm trying to grow this community. I do have a main channel called Play on Footy, which has got the red emblem. So yeah, obviously if you love footy content, go check that out. So this was the proposal. So Carlton were going to want pick 3, 63 and 68. In order to do that, they were going to give us, the West Coast Eagles, pick 12, 14, 73 and Matt Owies. West Coast Eagles were obviously hopeful or wanting to get Liam Baker, Matt Owies, pick 12 and pick 73. What Eagles had to do on their part of it would entail them to give pick 3 to Carlton. Richmond get pick 14, and then they would give Liam Baker to the Eagles. So this would enable Carlton, in Dylan Alexander's video, he does all the trade sort of deep dives. He's actually a great channel, go and check him out as well, on the midfielders that pick 3 could enable Carlton to chase or get after. Jager Smith, Sam Layla, Harvey Langford, Finn O'Sullivan, which is the cousin of Sam Walsh, and they are touted as highly reputable midfielders, and yeah, I guess for someone like Carlton, they would be wanting to chase that, for a team that's got, Chera, Hewitt, Cripps and Walsh, they would want to add some youth into that, and having probably seen Harvey Reid explode onto the scene, I know Carlton would definitely chase in that pick 3. But it is official, it's been done. A lot of Eagles fans are just absolutely fuming. I, for one, was absolutely fuming. I woke up this morning, I could not believe it. I checked the date, I thought it was April 1st, but it's definitely not April 1st. So yeah, I guess what I was trying to do in the time when it basically was announced was to go onto all your social media sites. I went onto Facebook, Reddit, basically all those sites, just understand what the Eagles are doing, because you still got to remember, we got Barras. The Eagles have Barras that they're going to be looking to trade. So what they were wanting from that, or from him, could definitely try and make sense of why the Eagles, or Matt Clark, the list manager, did what he did with this sort of framework. You could argue we got Matt Owies, who's 20-30 goal small forward. He had a pretty good year in 2024. And then Liam Baker is a proven elite player. I don't really have any problems with him. The 26 age mark's about right. That's okay. At least he's proven. Matt Owies being 27, I don't really know how many years he's got left in him. I guess the probably logic there is that he's going to come in and replace Jamie Cripps. Jamie Cripps probably doesn't have much longer left in him in terms of footy life. And I think as well, what I found on Reddit and Facebook, I'll just read it out. So a part of the strategy potentially could be that the Eagles wanted to take pick 14 away from the Hawks, because they knew that's what they would need in order to get Baker. Now, if we don't like what the Hawks are offering for Barras, we can just keep Barras, and at least we got Baker. So that could be an element as to why we've gone and given away pick 3, an untried pick 3. Remember, just because it's pick 3 doesn't mean this is going to be a successful player. Okay, it doesn't really mean anything. I guess what a lot of Eagles fans right now are basically pissed off about, and I don't blame them, is that we're basically approaching the trade period with a quick get rich quick scheme, or quick rebuild scheme here, which isn't really targeting at youth and development. It's all about just trying to patch holes with free agents, which I don't think in the long term is actually wise. However, if we're wanting to quickly resurge and have these good core mature age players around our youth, they could argue, Matt Clark and Don Pike could argue, that will fast track the development of the players, instead of just getting all this youth and expecting them to develop quicker with no real core players or mature players around them. You see that with Hawthorn, how they had Luke Bruce and they had Jack Gunston come back into the team, or Jack Gunston came back into the team to help the youth to actually make sure that they were on track and they were doing the right things on and off the track. You've seen it with North Melbourne, where they don't really have that many leaders in terms of mature age leaders, and they've been trying to get, you know, the Luke Parker, the Jack Darling. That's what they value. That's what Alistair Clarkson values. Each coach will value it differently. But I think that going forward, I'm actually, now that I've actually done a little bit more sort of reflecting and pondering, I don't actually think it's such a bad move. I guess I'm going to be copping it if the pick 3 that Carlton picks ends up being the next Judd or Cripps. You know, obviously that will be heartbreaking for us Eagles fans. Don't get me wrong. And we've got to do everything in our power. Remember, we've got to do everything in our power now to keep Harley Reid from leaving. Because if he sees everything around him not really supporting him on and off the field, he'll be like, well, I don't really want to be here. I've got a family farm in Geelong. I'd rather go and play for Geelong. And that's what they're going to be doing. Potentially, that's what he could be doing, I should say. So the other thing I found was, basically just reiterating what I'm saying. Some person wrote on, I think it was Facebook, some saying it's a win, getting a tried and tested player and Baker, and always for an untried pick 3. Yeah, that could be another positive side or advantage there, or perspective on this situation. And the other thing that I came across was, the only thing I can think of is there is a draft target they're looking at that they think will slide. You know, they won't be in the top 10. And there's been a lot of picks that haven't been in the top 10 that have actually been very good picks for clubs. So, you know, it goes back into saying, you know, with this 2024 draft coming up, you know, it's just a number. Whatever the player's picked at doesn't really represent the value of the player. It just means that, you know, that's where the testing and the combines all sort of have to try and put all these players in a category of numbers. It's a very hard metric to basically understand or to gauge a player on, especially one that hasn't even played a game of true AFL. And AFL is a big step up from where these young players will be coming from. There's only so many Harley Reids that have been able to come from, you know, the lower tier of development straight into AFL and flourish. That's a very high chance, of success. Sorry, a very low chance of success from these younger players coming into AFL. But Harley Reid is the exception to the rule by far. But what do you guys reckon? Comment down below, like, subscribe. We've still got to wait on the Barras thing, but I think overall my gut feeling is that we've made the right decision. I know it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sweep things under the rug here. I definitely understand the impact that this trade could have had on the actual future success on the Eagles. Only time will tell. But remember, we still have Barras, and we do hold the power when it comes to the Hawks if they really do want him, into, you know, what they're willing to give up. So the only thing I can pray on now is that we don't get bent over for Barras, because that would be absolutely brutal in the whole scheme of things. However, I think Baker and Owies will be welcomed additions. I don't support other people or even supporters of the club of the Eagles booing these players. Whatever has been made and decisions that have been made, whoever's responsible for this is Don Pike and Matt Clark, the new list manager, who overtook, I think, O'Brien. So just remember that, guys. Don't target these players. You know, they're human beings as well, just like us. Just go easy on them. We'll have a good run back home for the trade period. We've still got Barras, so we'll see what happens, and then we hit the draft hard, and hopefully we get some WA boys or SA boys into the team, and even maybe some Victoria players as well. But we'll see what happens. I'll see you next one, guys. Take care. Like, subscribe. I'll see you then.